Hey guys, LevelCap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. We do this show every week, so be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to catch the next one. Today we're taking a look at the end of Battlefield 5, Warzone's anti-cheat, CSGO's source code leaking, and much more. Now, it's been a whirlwind week for Battlefield fans. We knew next to nothing about DICE's plan for Battlefield 5 going into 2020, and it turns out there was a reason. The game's final update will launch in June, adding new maps, weapons, and tweaks. After that, the ride is basically over. This came to a shock to many players who expected DICE to continue adding new content to the game for the foreseeable future. The expectation was set by DICE themselves as they repeatedly said Battlefield 5 would be a long-term live service title that would continue to be updated and expanded. The next Battlefield title is due out in EA's 2022 fiscal year, which means sometime between the fall of next year and the spring of 2022. And assuming that the global health crisis hasn't caused significant production delays, Battlefield 6 launching in October of next year seems the most likely scenario. That said, all of DICE are currently working from home, and the next Battlefield game is probably well into its development cycle. Delays seem likely at best. This far out, there's next to no info about what DICE are working on. It's also unclear how well the franchise can recover from Battlefield 5. With DICE moving on from that game, the state that it's left us in will set the tone of the conversation for months to come. Battlefield 1 ended on a high note with a plethora of DLC content that has kept some players entertained well after Battlefield 5's launch. The silver lining is that it seems like DICE is really focusing most of their effort on the next game, and it might help them avoid the same production problems that Battlefield 5 suffered from. Call of Duty Warzone saw a massive influx of cheaters in the past few weeks. Some players were running into suspected cheaters nearly every match. As you'd imagine, the player base has been very vocal about this issue, many pointing the finger at Warzone being a free-to-play title, which makes it an attractive target for cheaters who can just make a new account every time one of theirs gets banned. Others point to China as the source of widespread cheating, not just in Warzone, but in all online games. Others directly blame Infinity Ward and Activision for failing to implement effective anti-cheat measures. Whoever's to blame, Infinity Ward released a statement this week that should ease our concerns. As of this week, players that reported suspected cheaters will be notified if the reported player gets banned. Infinity Ward have also deployed additional dedicated security updates, updated matchmaking to put suspected cheaters together, and increased resources to more effectively combat cheating. In the future, players will be able to submit reports directly from the kill cam and spectator mode. Of all the measures they're taking, grouping cheaters together is something we've seen other games do before. On the surface, it might seem like them protecting the game's insane player count figures by roping cheaters off instead of banning them, but the reality is this is often done so the developers can study what the cheaters are doing without their actions affecting innocent players. It's a clever way of collecting data that should ultimately help them build more robust anti-cheat systems. That said, cheating is becoming a more widespread issue, not just in Call of Duty. Ubisoft and Bungie both acknowledged this week that cheating was becoming a more significant issue for their games. Rainbow Six Siege has seen a massive influx of reports. A new exploit that allows players to freeze a lobby by manipulating the game in specific ways has been the hot topic of concern, and Ubisoft are implementing updates to help track the root of the issue. As for Bungie, it seems like Destiny 2 has become a hotbed for cheaters. The frequency of cheaters in-game is up by 50% since January, with many targeting the current Guardians Games event as it involves a lot of PvP and PvE farming. The good news is, bans are rising in step with the increase of cheaters, so while cheaters might be more common than before, they're getting caught and banned just as quickly. As much as I'd like to say everyone's going to be okay and these developers will eventually figure out a solution, the reality is cheating and anti-cheat solutions is a tug of war that's only going to continue escalating. The world is going to need solutions that go beyond just in-game detection and deterrence. Online commerce solutions like PayPal explicitly ban the sale sale of software that violates copyright laws or prohibits cheating. Reporting cheat makers and sellers to these companies could help cut their income off, but even then, there are dozens of online commerce sites that either won't restrict what you sell or don't have the resources to prevent that activity. Cheaters will always find new ways to cheat, so it's not as easy as just writing new software to find and ban them. And as frustrating as it is to deal with cheaters ruining your games, it's doubtful the developers of that game are content to just watch it happen. The source code for both CSGO and Team Fortress 2 was recently posted online by a disgruntled modder in retaliation for being booted off of a community-made Portal fan project. Initially, the entire internet went on red alert, assuming this meant the games would be wide open to incredibly dangerous attacks and exploits. Thankfully, the reality isn't nearly as dramatic. The files this modder released are from 2017. They were originally leaked in 2018 and are actually the source of a lot of data mined info about Valve's unannounced projects. One of which was Half-Life VR, which we now know is Half-Life Alyx. The leaked files are clearly legitimate, but Valve investigated the recent release and verified that they pose no risk to users. The attention that this re-release will bring the files might raise their profile for potential exploitation, but anything useful was probably already discovered and subsequently patched years ago. The fallout from the leak implicated notable Valve data miner Tyler McVicker. He runs the Valve News Network website and YouTube channel. He's often the public face of information gleaned from data mining of Valve's games. Despite his association with the leaker and the data they released, McVicker outlined in detail that he wasn't involved in the new situation. He was initially implicated as the culprit for the data being released this week. It quickly became apparent, however, that he had nothing to do with it and was at the worst guilty of associating with the leaker on the Portal fan project. Speaking of leaked info, roughly 160,000 Nintendo Network IDs have been hacked. The exact exploit had something to do with being able to spoof Nintendo Network ID logins. This specific login system has since been disabled, but the damage was already done. Affected accounts had their nickname, date of birth, country, email address, and even the full name of the user exposed to anyone that took advantage of the exploit. The end result is if you have a Nintendo account, you need to change your password and enable two-factor authentication immediately. Hackers could use your login info to do much more than just buy games with your account. They could use the data in your account to steal your identity and access more secure services like online banking with it. If you suspect your account has been compromised, contact Nintendo customer support and make the appropriate changes to your account security. The article linked in the description will have all the info that you need. GOG Galaxy 2.0, the all-in-one universal game launcher, is going public soon. It's been in open beta for a while now, but hasn't been officially released as a final product yet. If you'd like to check it out now, you can download the public beta from the official GOG website. It serves as a one-stop shop for all of your games. You can import your library from pretty much every major game client like Steam, Origin, and Uplay. Most support direct integration of all your friends list and other features as well. It's about as close as anyone's gotten to a unified launcher, and it's honestly 100% worth getting even in the public beta. Valorant's first major update made some pretty big changes to the game's most popular DPS character. Raze's grenades now only get one use instead of 2 per round. Their cooldowns now require 2 kills as well, so you should see a lot less nade spam in general. Sage's slow orbs now affect players in mid-air, but you can also slow walk through its area of effect silently. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is getting bots in public matches. They'll be exclusive to the game's console version for now and are being introduced in the 7.1 update. The goal seems to be giving lower skilled players a chance at getting a few kills every match. They'll loot and behave like regular players but have been tuned not to be super deadly murder machines. Players with high skill rankings will have a low chance of getting bots in their matches. Ranked play won't feature them at all. Bots in a battle royale game is honestly a kind of bizarre. If the whole point and thrill of playing a battle royale game is you versus other players, throwing bots in seems like it might cheapen the experience. That said, we can't speak for everyone. A lot of players just enjoy getting kills and having fun. Bots open up more opportunities to get kills and spread loot around, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this mixes things up before judging the devs for implementing them. In our final story this week, NVIDIA released an AI-powered noise removal tool for PC audio that is frankly mind-blowing. One of the first people to demonstrate its effectiveness posted a video showing it successfully removing the sound of a vacuum cleaner from his mic audio.
The vacuum is running, the vacuum is running, the vacuum is running, the vacuum is running.
The software is available as a free download and can clean up both your mic audio and PC system audio. So if your friends on Discord have noisy backgrounds or loud keyboards, you can run RTX Voice on the Discord audio and get a clean sound of it. Unlike most noise removal tools, RTX Voice maintains the tonal quality and detail of the speaker's voice. So instead of sounding like you're in a fishbowl, you'll sound almost totally normal, while any distracting sounds basically disappear. While it does require an NVIDIA GPU to work, apparently you can get it working on non-RTX GPUs. So if you have a GTX 1070 or something like that, you can still give it a go. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap signing off.